Welcome, reporting live on Zoom. You are listening to Chais and Chisme, a podcast brought to you by the world of Feriela.
I'm Jennifer, aka Fed, reporting live from the Pink Palace.
And I'm Daniela, aka Ella, reporting to you live from the Sirena Oasis. How are you doing
Ooh.
today, bae?
I am cold. I feel like I'm sitting here going like on my hands. Like, you guys got some ASMR right there. I just literally just exhaled into the mic.
I'm cool too, dude. I am like, as you like to say, swallowed up in fabric. I got this
Mm-hmm.
nice big sweater that I got from Target. Um, it's really warm, and then I have this scarf. I kind of wish I had a fluffier scarf. I'm not drinking chai, guys. Today I got some tea because we're gonna spill it. Just kidding. It's not a podcast today. But I do have tea because it's been cold lately, and I always lose my voice in the winter. And I thought that I'd escaped it, but this bipolar weather is trying me. And I'm like, no, 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 no. My birthday is coming up. When you guys see this, it'll be in like 2 weeks in a day. But right now, when we're recording it, it's in 3 weeks. And I'm like, last year for my birthday, I lost my voice on my birthday. We're not going to make this a birthday tradition. Fuck that.
Yeah, honestly, we're getting so close. 3 weeks. That's so close. Like, oh my God. I feel like it was just yesterday we had the countdown. We had the countdown going for the year in review. I remember, and I was like, oh my God. So we're here. I know it's like on the bipolar weather is making me all weird too. I'm like, guys, you won't see the blanket segment if you do watch them on YouTube, where I usually have a moment where I grab the blanket and put it on. What happened?
Live on the podcast. But one of Bay's favorite TikTok sounds is that oh no, oh no, no, no. And we always jokingly talk about, this is a tangent, y'all, because this happened live.
Uh-huh.
How I'm hella clumsy and I'm just a walking oh no no, but no one's ever recording me. So finally we caught one a little bit. I was trying to eat some of my avocado toast. And I accidentally, my butterfingers made it slip into my hand and it jumped in the air. And I have avocado on my hand now. And I almost dropped it, which knowing me, I probably would have dropped my mic and dropped the tea too. And then there would have been, so I salvaged it a bit, but you guys just caught a little bit of the multiple times a day occurrence of Daniela being clumsy. Cause it's not like a daily thing, like once a day. It's like a once an hour, once every 10 minutes.
No, the hourly clumsy moment.
Oh, 100%.
Oh no.
Definitely hourly.
Yeah, for those of you listening, yes, like you guys, I wish that you guys can watch this, or like, I'll try to go to the YouTube channel and watch this moment because, see, right now I wish this wasn't live because I could rewind and look at the moment. But yes, if you're watching, you weren't paying attention, look at Daniela's screen, because I want to see what happened. I did see you moving. I saw you flail your arms, and I was like, wait, what's happening? But
On
yes.
that note, this is gonna be a second or third. I can't remember when was the last time I ate on here, but
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had breakfast, y'all. I have to really take good care of my health, and so you might get a little bit of ASMR. I'm having avocado toast, a hash brown, and my tea because I haven't eaten yet.
It's very crunchy. I can hear every time you bite into it. It's really
Oh
nice. For
no,
those of
I'll
you
leave that.
listening, no, I like it. I like the crunchy sound. Yeah, honestly, like with the whole eating, I ate cereal before. I was gonna be like, "What are you having for breakfast?" And I saw you had avocado toast, and I was like, I had a quick breakfast of like a quick little bit of cereal because I didn't want to like film on an empty stomach, and so I just did that. I'm also exposing myself. I'm not having chai either. Is this really the Chais and Chisme podcast? No, I'm just kidding.
Girl, I
It is.
always have chai, but this time I did not. I wanted
I
some.
exposed myself.
I wanted
I
a
have
hot tea. Oh,
honestly
nice.
hot tea. I had that yesterday. I love tea in general. And spilling
Except
it.
it's not hot anymore because we were having a lot of technical difficulties to start, y'all. And so now it's like tibio, o sea, warm.
I was gonna be like, what's the translation for tibio? When you said that, I was like, oh, my brain doesn't know that one. It's warm.
Really?
Um,
Is that like a Mexico thing?
no. The tibio is oh, tibio might be the proper word. I've always been like, no, está calientito. It's not
Oh,
caliente. It's calientito. It's a little hot.
that's cute. Little hot. Little hot.
Calientito.
Not
It's
hot.
little hot.
Little hot.
Little
That's
hot. It's little hot. So that's
so now
that's what
when
I'm
we
using.
we refer to people and we're like, oh my God, he's hot. Nah, I think he's little hot.
He's little hot. He's big hot or little hot. But yeah, I'm drinking hot chocolate just because it's keeping my hands warm. I'm really cold. Yeah, the weather's been really crazy. I'm sniffly a little bit, but I think that's That tends to happen to me sometimes. I'll be having like, I don't know if they're allergies or I just tend to get really sniffly. I never tend to get sore throats. So whenever I get a sore throat, I know I'm getting sick, but I tend to mostly get sniffly. That's always my reaction to the weather. I tend to sneeze and like my nose tends to be really runny, which I hate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that, but I will say that the warm drink is helping because I feel better. I feel like I'm not as like shivering cold as I was earlier. But yeah. How's your week been?
Let's see, what has my week been? This is my first week back in school. Woo, back to
Yay!
the second semester. Yeah, it's been really great. It's been very busy. I don't know where this week has gone, but also like I remember Tuesday finishing my day, very busy day, and going, it's only Tuesday. Like I feel like I've been in this week for like 5 weeks. Like I've been very busy because I like, as I stated before, I'm jumping back into some of the swing of things. Like I'm in a better place with my mental health these days, which I'm really
Yay.
proud of myself for. And so I'm starting to take on more responsibilities, jobs, tasks, things like that again. So it's nice. Yeah, I'm on a job hunt, so that's kind of fun. Looking for a job during the pandemic sucks. Yeah. Also,
Imagine.
that is not me saying please leave your suggestions down below. No, thank you. I'm sorry. Whenever I talk about like I'm looking for a job, people just always are like, and I'm just like, thank you. No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm doing my job. Anywho, yeah, and then starting Mi Esencia this week, and all of the things. It's been a very, very busy week. Oh, now that you're touching your eye, for those of you who are listening to the podcast,
Oh, right.
Faye was on the phone with me 2 nights ago when I had a full-on anxiety attack about how something got in my eye. If you're like me and you're squeamish and you're very, very a very visual person, I would say skip ahead maybe a minute because I'm just going to talk about something that got in my eye for like a minute, keep it real brief.
Mhm.
But like we were on a phone call and all of a sudden I was like, ah, and I go to the bathroom and there was this, what looked like a petal or like a cascara. So I would
I don't
say
have translation
shell.
for that.
Cascara is shell, but not like shelly, like very like when I say cascara, I mean more like a popcorn kernel shelly thing. It
Uh-huh.
looked like that, but it was like, but the reason I say petal is because it didn't look hard like that,
Mhm.
and it was like a dark red, and it was kind of like a flower petal shape, but really small, but big for
Uh-huh.
the eye, in my eye. And so I like washed my hands and I took my finger like I usually do if there's like a lash or something, and I pressed my finger to like, and it wouldn't go anywhere. And I was like freaking out,
Mhm.
freaking the fuck out because it was big. And I was like, oh, this thing is in my eye. And just quick short story, when I was a kid, when I was like in second grade, I used to play in the dirt a lot. And one time it was windy and the dirt got swept up into my eyes, and a little rock, really, really small, really, really small rock got in my eye and we couldn't get it out. And that little tiny, 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 tiny little rock is permanently in my eye. I could show it to people. It's permanently in my eye. And I remember all day I couldn't see, and they were just like, well, we can't, like, we tried flushing. I don't like water in my eyes, and we tried flushing it. And so like I was full on freaking out on the phone with her the other day because I was miserable. I don't like putting water in my eyes. I don't like things in my eyes. I was just like, I was crying because, as y'all know, I'm a crybaby, but I didn't like it. And in case you're wondering, it's still there, I think, but I can't see it anymore because it started to go
Ah.
down and under back into my eye. And I haven't seen it since then. So, but I'm pretty sure it's still in there somewhere because this
Uh.
is a little drier than this one. That's how my week went. That sucked. But I'm just trying not to think about it too much because I just don't.
The eye stuff. I feel you on that. For those of you who have been watching, all of these for a while, and you notice I have my little tissue. She's like, "Oh, now you touched your eye." You're probably like, "You know what? Yeah, she does that every single podcast." Yeah, my left eye always is like tearing and watering, which usually makes my makeup smear on this side because of the tissue. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Also, I will say this is the silver lining to this because everything has a silver lining, right?
Yes.
So the silver lining is that nothing hardly ever gets into this eye, into the left eye, because it's constantly watering. It's constantly like anything that gets in an eyelash immediately flushed out because it's tearing. Like if I don't take my little tissue and wipe at myself, I will start like actually tearing and crying because it's just constantly doing that. So yeah, that is the silver lining, is that whenever I get an eyelash, it's usually on this eye. on the eye that is not tearing consistently, because it's just, I guess it's more avenue for the little object or eyelash to stick in there and just chill, right? Whereas this one, it's constantly, there's a flow of water and tears and blinking, so it's easily washed out. So I will say that is the silver lining. I never have to do all this poking probing onto my eye. But okay, well, at least the back to school portion of your week was great. Which I'm happy. The eye thing, God, I remember that moment on the phone. I was like, oh my God.
I was full on freaking out, y'all. It was pretty funny. Now, in retrospect, it's pretty funny. Because we like to laugh at ourselves. But it's Friday. It's Friday. We have a new president, which is also great. We're recording this. You guys, we record this about a week before, so I'm happy about that. That's pretty great. Yeah, that's kind of how my week has been.
All right. Well, my week has been the same old, nothing new. Just pushing through, doing the work stuff. Work has been a little more stressful this past week than usual. So I've been getting home and my brain is just melted. Like, I have no brain capacity for anything. I just want to just sit and exist and check out. But I will say, I definitely there was a time in my job where I was, again, my job is just tends to fluctuate between stressful and great. It's just the way it is. And so there's always been periods of time where my job is stressful. So in those stressful moments, usually I'd be doing so bad. Like, I would be not only like having stress at work, but I'd have either stress in my household, or I'd be doing bad, in a bad mental headspace. It was usually coupled with a lot of things. And lately, the stressful periods in my job, like, I've noticed, I'm handling them a lot better. And it's probably because I'm in a better mental headspace than I was those other times. And also, like, everything else in my life seems to be kind of situated. So the stress at work, it does stay over there. But what comes back with me is just the feeling of being tired. And that's just how it is sometimes. Like, sometimes work makes you drained. And so, yeah, that's one of the things that I definitely learned. I think one of the when I was back then, the before times, I used to I used to feel like my brain was melted, and I'd be like, well, my brain's melted, but I gotta do 1,000 things. Let me start doing all these other things. And it's like, you gotta listen and and let yourself, if my brain is melted, I tell people my brain is melted. I can't talk right now. I can't do all these things. I kind of just want to watch TV and like leave this plane. I want to just like astral project into the sky.
Go into another realm, if we
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, I just kind of want to daydream or something, because I'll tend to be more honest about that. And I think before, that's what made it harder, was that I wasn't honest, that I didn't really, when my brain was melted, I didn't really listen to my body. I was kind of more like, oh, well, I'm just going to push through. And it's like, nah, fam, we push through to work. Okay. Now it's time for us to just sit here and exist. So I've been enjoying just existing after work. That's what I've been doing. That's why this week has felt like a blur, because I'm like, what did I do?
I feel you. I totally had a just exist day yesterday, because most of the week, like I said, has been really busy. Very balanced, though. I've been making a real effort to keep my days more balanced. Meaning, yes, I'm doing like schoolwork and work stuff, but I'm also like going for walks, meditating, making time to dance, to cook, to read. So I'm really pleased with myself so far. But yesterday my body was just like, we don't want to do any of it. None of it. We just want to sit and watch YouTube. And I kept falling asleep. My body was just like, we're tired. And I was just like, dude, I can't. Like, we got a lot of things to do. And she's like, but we're tired. So I did get some stuff done, but not as many things as I would have wanted to. And I'm accepting that that's what my body needed yesterday. And so you just got to listen to your body and do what your body says. And sometimes your body's like, we melted, we're out.
We melted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm a melted ice cream, which I'm happy for. Ice cream is my happy food, in case you guys didn't know.
It is. We have a lot of memories with ice cream. You do like your ice cream like melty, don't you?
I do. Like
I don't.
I like it to be a little melty, and then I do love to drink melted ice cream. I think it's delicious.
Guys, that to me is a hard no for me. I do not like my ice cream melty. That's why I eat my ice cream pretty fast. Like, I don't want to get melty. And I know people are thinking I don't like milkshakes. For some reason, the two exist in different universes for me. I'm also just another thing to like give more context to that. I mentioned that I had cereal, right, for breakfast. I don't drink the milk after. That's really, I don't know why. There's something about a liquid that's been sitting there. See, the way I describe it sounds gross. A liquid that's been sitting there that it's just grosses me out. So ice cream, yeah. So let's say you eat the ice cream and there's a little bit of melted ice cream on the bottom.
Uh-huh.
I'm not drinking that. And I'm not drinking the milk after the cereal too. That's been sitting there for a while.
I like, okay, so real quick, two notes. One, the inner side of me that's like,
Mm-hmm.
but the children, because that's how I was raised. I was very much raised, finish your
Oh
food,
yeah.
because there's children who don't have food. And so when you said that, I was like, the children. And then I'm like, Daniela, you don't stop it. You don't have to police everybody or whatever. I can't, I try my best not to waste food. Because I grew up in a home that like everything gets eaten. And then when I was married, I was in a home where people were just so used to throwing away food. And I was just like, what do you mean you're throwing that all away? It's food. So like for me, I like, anywho, the reason I wanted to bring up another point is because I reacted when you said it. Like my face could not
Mm-hmm.
have been more reactive. And I was also reminded of how we were talking off camera about how I am like the resting bitch face person. And I
Mm-hmm.
was editing last week's video. And when I was watching it, I caught myself giving, like, when I was really focused on what you were saying, my resting
Mm-hmm.
face came out. And I just like, I remember you were talking about like pinks and frills and femininity. And I looked so annoyed and over it. And I was like, Daniela, change your face. Please change your face. Change your face. And when
You
I
get
react,
canceled.
exactly. And when you said that, my face immediately went to that face, and I was reminded of that. And I was like, oh, I want to tell the listeners about how, yes, I'm aware I have resting bitch face. I'm not, most of the time I'm not annoyed. I don't always have, I'm not always like, ah, oh my God, or like, what? You know, sometimes I'm just like really focused on what she's saying. Also, because I have ADHD, so I have to focus real hard sometimes. And so resting bitch face is just something y'all gonna have to get used to. Y'all can meme me up if you want or not. I don't care. I don't care. But what are we talking about today?
So today we are talking about, I almost said my favorite topic, but people, I'm so sorry, listeners. You guys probably like, you say this every time. Like I almost said it. One of my other favorite topics, femininity, probably my favorite one still. It's still my favorite one, all right? Y'all saw me have the whole fit for that one. So, but this is another one that I've been looking forward to talking about because this is actually something that something that I don't feel is talked about a lot, to be honest. And so it is body hair. We're going to be talking about body hair. And
Woo!
so it makes me really happy because I know if you're thinking that's gross, click off this video. It's not for you then, because body hair, like, again, like it's
Actually, no, I invite you to stay. If you have a problem with body hair, this video is for you.
is for you.
This video is for you. If you have internal problems, or if you just like to talk about body hair, stay here too. But if you got a problem with body hair, I bet you won't listen to this video. I bet you're not gonna do it. I bet you're chicken. I bet you won't.
Guys, for those of you listening, that was not a sound effect of a chicken that she played. She actually made that sound. You make good sound effects.
Oh, I love doing animal sounds. We're not doing that now, though. I'm actually, that's one of my, like people have hidden talents. I'm pretty good at animal effects. That was not my best chicken because I wasn't actually trying.
Because I was gonna be like, can you do a cow next? That'd be so cute. Little farm animals. Oh,
You're not gonna get another one out of me today.
Okay.
That's for
All
another time. But yes, we are talking
spoiled
about
again.
hair, body hair, all of it. It's gonna be good.
Yes, honestly. Okay, so the reason why I'm so excited about this is because all right. So we're gonna address the elephant in the room here, in case y'all haven't noticed. We're both Latinx, Latina. So in my experience as a Latina, I've always been, I don't want to see hairy has a negative connotation, but let's just say
But yeah, it's hairy.
Yeah,
Let's
hairy.
take
I've
the
always been
negativity away from that word because it's just a
yes.
descriptive word.
It is exactly. I always feel like I hesitate because I don't want somebody to also identify themselves with my body hair and be like, I got another hair like that too, and then feel like hairy and then feel negative. But we're saying hairy as a descriptive, all right?
As your personal descriptive.
As my personal descriptive, yeah. So I've always been really hairy. I've always had thick hair. One of like, okay, this is where we're gonna start. We'll prompt it this way. Okay, so there was a point in my life as a child where I didn't notice this. We talked about this in the body dysmorphia episode as well, right? I didn't notice anything. As a kid, it's really great because you don't notice these kind of things, right? I never looked at my legs, ever. Until maybe, I think, 6th or 7th grade. I read a book somewhere. or somewhere where this person like shaved their legs, and I was like, why would they do that? For what? And I was like, they have to shave their legs. And then I remember that I like went on and looked at, and then I started looking at my legs, and I was like, should I be shaving my legs? And after that, forever changed in here. Forever, forever. After that, I looked at everybody's legs and I was like, oh, I bet she shaves her legs. I bet she shaves that. And now here's the question. I don't know if other Latinas can relate to this. Latinx people can relate to this. Okay, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Did your parents let you shave your legs?
No, no, they didn't. I did it. But also, one thing we should note is her hair experience is extremely different to mine. Okay, so we have the two polar
Yes.
opposites on the Latinx experience, because she is someone who that's where the Euro kind of influence came in, is in being hairy, because that's something we should note. People always talk about how Latinas are super hairy. That's the Spanish. That's the colonial stuff. I have like, so like on my dad's side of on my mom's side of the family, they can be pretty hairy.
Mm-hmm.
Mexican, white Mexicans, like when
Mm-hmm.
you look at me compared to my mom's family, I stick out like a sore thumb. And then my dad's side of the family, my dad is Peruvian. My grandma's first language was not Spanish. She is indigenous. Her first
Mm-hmm.
language was Quechua, which is the language of the Incans. If you've heard of
Mm-hmm.
the Incan Empire, have you heard of Machu Picchu? Yeah, those are my people. Anywho, I am what I've heard referred to as lampiña. So that just means someone who doesn't grow a lot of hair in general. I'm not a hairy person. Not a hairy person. So like right now, I don't actually have my eyebrows filled. But I did get my eyebrows microbladed about a year and a half ago. So there's still some effects into it, which I'm hoping will go away soon because I want to start embracing my naturalness. Anywho, I don't have a lot of like eyebrow hair. Like in flash photography, this part, the center part by where would be my unibrow, disappears because there's not a lot of hair there. It's super sparse. I hardly even pluck my brows, and I never was in that thin brow thing because I just don't grow a lot of hair. My leg hair, I go months, weeks. I'm not a person that shaves on a weekly basis. I shave maybe once a month on my legs, even in the summer. The only things that grow faster are like my armpits and my pubic hair. That does not match. The drapes don't match the curtains in that sense. But I was not allowed. No, I wasn't allowed to shave. Because I remember when I became aware of my body hair, I think it was like sixth, seventh grade.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was shaving by eighth grade, and I did it behind my mom's back.
Mm-hmm.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that thing too. I also was not allowed to shave. Anyone else with our experience, definitely drop a comment below. I want to see if this is a common thing. I did not know a lot of people who were not allowed to shave. And I've mentioned before,
Same,
a lot of
same.
a lot of my friend group tended to be I mentioned Asian. And so they also did not have a lot of body hair. And so even if they weren't allowed to shave, they would still wear their shorts or their skirts. And I'd be like, what do you mean you didn't shave? And
Question:
huh?
How old were you when you were when shaving was something on your mind? Because for me, it was like sixth grade and beginning of middle school. Just so you guys know, for those of you who are like sixth grade is middle school, here in Pinole, the grade system goes K through 6 is elementary school, and then 7th and 8th is middle school.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. Most people tend to be like, oh, 6 through 8 is middle school. That's interesting. Yeah, for me, six, I've always thought of it as a separate thing. Yeah, it was elementary school still. So, no, I'd say elementary school, not so much. Definitely middle school. And for our middle school experience, we had to wear uniforms. And I remember that I was like, oh man, uniforms. And like, I always wore the pants. And I remember that. So when I'm gonna expose myself as a weeb. So I remember that I was very much into anime and manga, and they wore such cute uniforms. If you read anime, read manga. Well, sorry, you're probably like, you're a weeb. You just messed that up. If you read manga and watch anime, you know this. Their uniforms are so cute. And then I'm like, my God, I wish they were, but also those skirts are hella short. But point is, I was like, oh, but it's so cute, and the little skirts are pleated, and they're just adorable. And I remember that I was like, oh man. And so I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna wear, like, instead of the pants, I'm gonna wear the little uniform skirt, and that way I'll feel like I'm in a manga. And that was my whole thing. But I realized when I wanted to wear the skirts, and I'd see other people wear the skirts, they, again, that's when I started noticing, wait, that one thing that I read in that book somewhere about that girl shaving her legs, that's actually a thing, because I started realizing that, oh my God, how are their legs like that? And I started realizing that I had a lot of leg hair. And I began to question, oh my God, did I always have all this leg hair? Like, I could not, I can't remember. I don't know if I always had that leg hair, because I didn't notice it till I was 12. And yeah, I was not allowed to shave because, see, yeah, we talk about the whole, our experiences as being a hairy and lampiña. I love that term. I never knew that was a term for someone who doesn't have a lot of
I
body
think
hair.
I think it's a Peruvian thing
Mm-hmm.
because I never heard that term until I was married,
Okay.
and my ex-husband is full Peruvian. So that's where I heard it. But before, because in Mexico, I've never heard that term. But also, all of my cousins are hairy, so I wouldn't have.
There will
Yeah.
be no expo. Yeah, so I've never heard it either, but I like that. I like that there's a word for it. So yeah, like it's like the whole hair thing. So in Oswell, my dad tends to be from, my parents are both Salvadoran. My dad, and where he is from, there tends to be more indigenous influence, just in their skin tone, their features, and as well their body hair. I have half sisters. My half sisters have eyebrows that are also like pretty on the thin side. They don't have any body hair. Like I looked at their arms and I was like, oh my God, they don't have any body hair, and like they don't have to worry about that. So because now keep that in mind, in El Salvador there are a lot of areas that have a lot of indigenous influence where there is not a lot of body hair and that kind of thing. So my mom also shares my experience where we have very thick hair. And one of the things that I was told is that thick hair is not just on your head, it's everywhere else too. And so I have thick hair on my legs, on my arms, that I'll show you guys in a bit. Yes, I have hair. And the thing is, but my mom, because in El Salvador, that's not a thing, because most people tend to be a little more, have be in the areas that have more indigenous
Mhm.
features. And so they don't.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna apologize for the face I just made taking that bite of avocado toast. I caught it in the video, and I looked ridiculous. It looked like I was making out with the avocado toast. So I apologize to our viewers. I'm gonna try to be a little more discreet. Go on with your hair.
Oh my God. It's okay. I think the viewers find it entertaining. But yeah, so like, wait, she tends to be from one of those regions as well. She just tends to not be someone who has less body hair. So point is, that is not a thing. That is not a custom over there. It is not really like a big deal. With my mom also had uniform skirts that she had to wear, but I think they wore knee-high socks. I'm not sure I don't know what the situation is. Point is, when I told her, I was like, "Oh, mom, my leg hair, I want to shave." She was like, "Are you nuts?" She was like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "My legs, my leg hair." And I was making this big thing about it. Hashtag first generation problems. I was making this big thing about it, that I was like, like my leg hair, don't you see? Look how hairy they are. And she was like, "Who's looking at your legs?" And I was like, "Everyone, mom." And so my mom was like, "Absolutely not." She's like, "If you shave them, it's gonna grow, that whole myth that it's gonna grow back thicker." And so that whole myth, she's like, "It's gonna grow back thicker. I've never done that." And then I'm like,
Wait,
"Yeah, but
wait, wait,
I'm like,
wait,
mhm."
wait. Hold on. Your mom doesn't shave her legs?
She does not. My mom
Wow.
does not shave her legs. Yes, she does
Wow.
not
You
shave.
know what? Power to your mother. I love it. I love
Mhm.
it. I am here for that. Hell yeah.
My mom does. I think, and another thing is, so we're gonna talk about like body hair and the stigma and that kind of thing around it, because my mom, before this conversation, never shaved her legs. It's just the underarms, right? That whole thing. But besides that, never. And like the thing is, I remember that I was like, "Oh my God," like, like, my legs. And so I always just, this is the part I'm trying to move past it and deconstruct this in my brain, because it wasn't bad. It's just the memories that I have are bad. So I wanted to wear the skirts, right? I wore them anyway. I cringe now, and I shouldn't cringe because it's fine, right? But I think what makes it a bad memory was how I felt so uncomfortable in my skin, walking around with my legs like not shaved and my skirt on. I just felt like everybody was looking at my legs, and I was so embarrassed. And I felt so embarrassed, and I wanted to feel comfortable, but I didn't. So those uniform skirts hardly were worn. They were worn maybe once or twice, until a friend of mine pointed out my leg hair. And I know they were trying to be very nice. They did not point it out in a way that was mean. But I remember that I was like, I felt made me feel so much more worse. And that's not been the only time in my life that my hair has been pointed out. So This was probably one of the first times that it confirmed to me that everybody was looking at my legs, right? So I remember that they said, they were like, oh, it was, I think a day after I had worn the skirt. They were like, oh, I just had a question. And I was like, yeah. And they're like, are you allowed to shave? And I remember I thought, oh my God, right? Like I was like, yeah. And I remember that I was like, okay, well, I hope, she isn't allowed to shave either, because that way, like, we'll bond over this. And I was like, no, my mom doesn't let me shave. And she said, oh, I noticed, because I noticed that yesterday, like, your legs are a bit hairy. And I'm serious. This conversation actually happened, guys. This conversation actually did happen. She said, your legs are a bit hairy. And I wanted to die. And she was like, oh, my mom didn't let me shave my legs before too. And I was like, really? And she was like, yeah, but like I just use Veet. And if you guys know this,
I
Veet,
remember Veet or
yeah.
Nair.
And there they use these little creams that are hair removal so that you're not actually shaving. And then I was like, Veet. And she told me, she's like, yeah, it's like this cream. And she like essentially explained it to me. And I was like, oh, well, maybe my mom would let me use that. And so essentially started the whole war once again, where I told my mom, what if I do this? When I guys, this was a constant thing in my life in middle school. This conversation with my mom. My mom was always like, absolutely not. You don't need to do that. And da da da. And I was like, Mom, but there's Veet, there's this. Why can't I do it? And I was just so miserable with the hair. So I eventually went the route that you did. I did it behind my mom's back at like 15. Yeah, I remember that again.
Wow, you had some restraint. I don't think I waited till 15. Also, real quick, I just want to give a disclaimer. This is definitely her experience, and I've had a similar experience that I'll get into later. But I just want to just give the disclaimer that if you are comfortable with your body hair, or if you are someone who's young, I don't want the message to come across as you should want to shave your legs or you should love your hair, because honestly, like, we're going to get into that more, but like there's literally nothing wrong with having body hair, whether it's someone who is quote unquote hairy or someone who is pretty hairless. People always have something really shit to say, and it's never actually about you, it's about them. And I know that can be really hard to hear and understand. It's like, how is it about them when they're talking about something about me? And they're projecting insecurities, or for whatever reason. We'll get into why the person bullied me, because I got bullied on that too.
Okay, so I said, like, I agree, like yes, that is a message too. You guys, stick around. Want to let you know just early on, this is not going where you think it's going. I'm not going to tell you guys to use Veet and use all these things and tell you all the shaving tips. This is not where this is going. This is just how I was experiencing this growing up at 13, 12 years old, and how this really affected me. So yes, I had some restraint, because y'all know this, although I am a little bit of a demon on here, I am a good girl at heart as well. I didn't want to do anything behind my mom's back. I didn't want to, because my mom and I have a really good relationship, and I knew I didn't want to do anything to like make her upset or make her not trust me and that kind of thing. And so I remember I've had that restraint. Also just the way hair in the universe works. I did have a lot of leg hair, and I've always had a lot of arm hair. Well, at least a lot. So again, we'll get into that. So but underarm hair, it took a while for it to come in. Like, it took a while for my underarm hair to come in. It was at like very. I also never wore anything like tank tops. I didn't really wear that because I wasn't comfortable in that, so I never really needed to. And then or felt like I needed to. So it wasn't until I was 15, like my quinceañera, that I was gonna wear something that was like kind of like revealing, that I was like, okay, I need to shave. And then my mom taught me how to do it. And then I was like, well, now that you've taught me, now I'm gonna do my legs.
The student becomes the teacher.
Exactly, right? So that, oh my God, yes, that is coming back around. Remember this, the student becomes a teacher. Remember that. So I very much was like, now, and I had a light bulb moment go on. I remember I felt so nervous, so I just shaved. I think I shaved like half of my leg. I was scared.
Don't we all?
Yeah, I shaved half of my leg because I was like, I'm scared. And then I was like, it's okay, I just have to hide this now. And I remember one time I was watching TV and I had my legs like on, like, like I was wearing sweats, but like when I had my legs extended, like my sweats came up a little bit. And then like she like was putting something away by the TV and she looked at my legs and she was like, you shaved your legs? And then I was like, And I was like, yes. And I thought she was going to be so upset and disappointed. Nah, she wasn't. She was just like, well, it's going to grow back thicker. I was like, it's okay, Mom. I'll shave every day of my life if I have to. That's what I said. And oh, God. And then started the vicious cycle. Then.
Do you remember? I want to ask you, do you remember that moment when your legs rubbed together for the first time shaved? Do you remember that feeling?
Mm-hmm. See, this is a scam. It's a scam. I had that moment when they rubbed together and they were smooth, or that moment just that when my leg was like, my leg hair had never been shaved before. That day that I shaved just half of my leg. How smooth it was. My legs even looked like a lighter color. I was like, what? These are my legs? And I was just so like blown away. And I was like, these are gonna be the legs for the rest of my life. I was wrong, guys. I was wrong because number one, y'all know what the grow out process is. It really, okay, I will say that. I don't think it grows back thicker, but it definitely does not grow back the same. My leg hair, I've grown it out before as well. It never grew back the same. It has never grown back to how it used to look before I ever did anything to it. Not that it was finer, not that it was nothing like that. It's just a different pattern. The way that it grows is really interesting. So that was never grew back the same for me.
Tell me why I'm checking my leg hair right now. Also, speaking of which, we never did sock cam.
We never did. Yes, actually, instead of sock cam, we're going to do hair cam. Right now, Daniela's going to stand up and show us
what cam?
We're going to do body hair cam. So Daniela, stand up.
I'm down. Also, I want to
if you have
socks anyway, because I have some cute socks on.
Yes. Let's do sock cam, and then we're going to do body.
I was checking. Okay, the reason I was checking my legs body hair because you said your hair never grew back the same, and I was like, personally agree to disagree. Mine does grow back the same.
Okay.
It never
even
changed.
The pattern.
It never got thicker. Yeah.
It never got thicker for me.
It never got thicker, but it also like the pattern. Yeah, no, it's the same. And that's why I started checking my leg because I was like, let me just verify what I think I already know. All right, y'all. I guess I'm gonna stand up.
Sock cam
/ take a look at my leg cam / yeah. When was the last time I shaved? I think I shaved about 2-3 weeks ago. Something like that. It's been a few weeks. And then also there's like some scarring on my leg from. Well, I'm a clumsy gal, so just be aware. And also, who gives a crap? Who doesn't have scars? I call them battle wounds. All right, I'm gonna stand up.
All right.
I think that my. Okay.
Ooh, we get a full view. All right.
Oh, I gotta take off my headphones, guys.
Okay.
Okay. I guess I will show you guys my legs and my socks.
Ooh, your socks do they say I need coffee?
I need a few more minutes.
Oh, I love that. They have little mugs on them, a red mug, a blue mug, and like a peachy colored mug, I think. And it says I need a few more minutes at the top. They are white. They are also a crew sock kind of sock. Also, her legs, as you guys can see, there is a gleam coming from them. They are shiny. They look smooth from here.
Yeah, they don't have any lotion on them because I suck at lotioning my body, guys. I told you I'm a lazy excuse for a girl sometimes. I don't do the body lotion thing. I know I should, but
yeah. So you see, that is the natural gleam. I don't know if the camera's gonna pick up if there is any hair. I don't see any, and yeah, this is how Daniela was blessed, in my opinion. Not saying if you have legs like mine, you are also blessed too. If you believe that.
All right, guys, time for me to give birth to this mic.
Oh my god. Okay. Okay. All right then. So my sock cam. I hope I don't knock over my display. I'm sitting a lot closer than usual. Okay, let me move this pillow. All right, and you guys will see a little bit of the blanket, because I'm Linus from Peanuts. All right. Love it. This is my sock.
We're very classic today. Again, a crew sock. We are fans of crew socks here. Also, in case you guys were wondering, I do like the knee-high socks. Back to Bay. So she has a like gray. When you think gray, think like the classic sweatpants gray. Ladies, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh my
god. But it's gray with white. I'm trying to decide if it's gray with white stripes or white with gray stripes and gray heel toe. top portion, because it
Ooh.
sounds weird to say it's gray with white stripes. Like, what are white stripes? No, the stripes are always the other color. I'm making this
Yeah.
more complicated than it needs to be. Those are her feet. Those are the
Yeah, my
socks.
feet. Those are my feet. There's a little lemon thing on them. I don't know if I can even get it. No, I can't. I'd have to switch the other way. There's a little tiny little lemon on the other side of
On
the
your
sock.
ankle?
On this, yes, on my ankle on this part. But you guys can't see it, and I can't turn my body in that way. So well, I can, but I'm like I don't know how to do that. So yeah, y'all will just miss out on that, unfortunately. But there's nothing much to it. They're just very cozy. I love crew socks, so they keep me like warm. I don't know. I feel like I feel warmer with them than ankle
Yeah.
socks.
Also,
My
ankle
ankles are
socks are
cold.
forever falling off into your shoes. I used to love ankle socks because I'm like, oh, they look nice with clothes. But now I'm like, nah, bitch. They like be falling into my shoe that I have to stop in the middle of the street, stick my hand in my shoe and try to pull my sock back up. And some of y'all are like, what cheap socks are you buying? Yes, they are cheap. They are cheap.
I
You guys
throw
try to
them out
spend
once.
cash on
Yeah.
socks?
Same. No, and also like I throw them out once they're like getting all like falling off my feet. I'm like, nope. Because I hate that. I don't like the feeling of walking in the and like my especially because I wear boots a lot. I don't like the feeling of the sock falling like under like off and the boot is there. I don't like that feeling. I'm sometimes a little bit sensitive to like sensory things, and that's one of them. And I can't. So I hate them. So I just toss them out. So yeah, this solves the problem. It's crew socks. But I love little crew socks that keep me warm. But yes, that was our the body hair. Oh my goodness. Yes, yes. I over here exposed you, and you're over here. Look at guys, this is another moment that I need you guys to solidify in WAF history. We had a moment, I think, a couple of podcasts back too with Daniela, that Daniela is a wholesome, amazing, great, nice person because she literally let me expose her for the body hair and she wasn't going to say anything. I was about to literally pick up the back to the topic and she wasn't going to be like, wait, your body hair. And she wasn't going
Well,
to.
because something that y'all don't know is I'm extremely comfortable with my
Mm-hmm.
body hair. And I mean, I do struggle with it too. We'll get into that, but I'm trying very hard to not let it get in the way. So if you're like, I want to see your leg hair, I'll show you my leg hair. I hardly ever shave. I hardly ever shave. Like I don't go through razors like it's nobody's business. I still don't like to pay that pink tax on it though. But yeah, sure, babe. Let's see your leg hair. I also
Sure.
wasn't going to make you in case you were uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's I think okay. So originally, when I was like, "We're doing a body hair cam," my head I was like, "Girl, are you sure?" I was like, that means you too. And then I was like, and then I realized, wait, I want to set an example for again. We talked about people who might younger, someone who's younger who's watching. This is what I've never seen legs or leg hair like mine. When people have leg hair, it's usually little sparse leg hair, not. And I've never seen a full like a hair. Sorry, a lot of body hair on the legs. And I used to feel like I was the only one back then. And so again, I don't want to make it seem like it's like, oh, haha, I'm too good or whatever. Like, no, my legs look like this. So I will show you a little bit because I am a little self-conscious, but just to show y'all that I'm serious when I talk about the hair thing. I'm not just sitting here it up. So yes, this is my leg hair. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it. I can't get any closer than that, I think.
Well,
Probably not.
the audience cannot see it. The audience
Cannot
cannot
see
see it.
anything.
No,
A lot
I
of
think
bruising though.
yeah, I can see the bruising. We can't see the leg hair.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that is power to you.
Yeah.
I just don't, I will say, I just don't think in general, even with me, because I do have some
Mm-hmm.
leg hair, but also mine is pretty and like you
Mm-hmm.
could stand pretty close to me and you'd have to focus to see my leg hair in
Mm-hmm.
general. But I do think that the camera isn't necessarily doing it justice. I don't want it to come off as like neither one of us have leg hair. We have
Oh no
to talk
no! I
about.
think the camera's not doing it. No, absolutely not. I didn't think so. Maybe if my camera's up on something, so I can't get any closer. But if I got close enough, you guys would see it because there is leg hair. I promise you. Oh, actually, I'll show you my arm hair. That'll be easier than my leg hair. Because I don't shave my arm hair.
Me
Um,
either. But I
I've
also,
never
again,
have.
I don't have a lot of, look at how dark my arm is compared to my face. Guys, this lighting washes me out. I swear to you, I'm not this light. And not that it matters, but I take a lot of pride in my brown skin. So I don't like looking washed out at all. I hate it when I look whiter. But look at how dark my arms are. My arms, let's see. Okay, I guess you can kind of see a little bit more hair. Excuse my hand. I have eczema on my hand and it's been acting up. That is
Okay.
something I'm far more insecure about.
I think the camera might be picking you. Maybe I don't know if it's okay. Let's see if it picks up mine. So I definitely have. See, there you
Yeah,
go.
I
It
could see it.
definitely did. Yeah, see, that's all my arm hair. It's always been like this my entire life. I've never shaved it. I'm never going to shave it.
Same.
So with my arm hair, yeah. So like, but I didn't realize that was something I should be self-conscious about. But yeah, so like
I had
in
like I
body
growing
hair.
up, I had I didn't personally experience like the shame of being super hairy, like
Hmm.
actually being hairy. I did have people try to push that on me, but I did have like family, which I could talk about in a sec. I did have
Hmm.
family members who I'm not going to expose them, but I had
Of
family
course not.
members that did shave their arms because they were, again, like I said, my family is like white Mexican, and also they have dark hair. So light skin, dark hair, there's a big contrast there. And so some of them were a little bit more self-conscious about it, which I can understand. I don't think they should be, but that's not my experience to dictate how they felt in those times. But I do remember I had cousins who like shaved their arms and their legs, and I think I became more aware of shaving because I only became aware of my body hair because my cousins were aware of their body hair, and I was
Mhm.
very very close to my well, not was am very close to my cousins. um but I did have somebody, I had a similar experience to yours where somebody pointed out my leg hair because I was wearing a skirt for uniform in middle school because we didn't go to schools that actually had uniform all along. They started the uniform thing when we were in middle school, I think. Yeah. And
Mhm.
so like, and I was the defiant child who literally always tried to make the uniform fashion. And it's like
I
uniform for
always
fashion.
wanted to be
So I
that. I
had I had
wanted
like
to
I had
be
like the
that.
I had like these blue tank tops that I would put on top
Mhm.
of my uniform shirt. So I was the layered person. I had all these necklaces. I had all these long sleeves that I put on underneath that were different. Like I did, but anywho. So I was wearing the skirts, but I had a
Mhm.
body hair. I think I shaved for the first time in 8th grade.
Mhm.
But I remember that there was this I was always nervous because even though I didn't have a lot of body hair, I still had body hair. And like you said, a lot of girls were already shaving by our age. I wasn't
Mhm.
allowed to. I wasn't allowed to. And I don't remember when I started having armpit hair, but I definitely didn't have armpit hair at this time because I think my mom would have been
Mhm.
more lenient on that because I did
Mhm.
wear a lot of tank tops. And my armpit hair grows back ridiculously fast. I hate my armpit hair. I have to shave pretty often if I do, which that's a whole nother journey too that we'll get into. But there was this guy who let's call him Brad. Okay.
Mhm.
There's this guy, Brad, who was like kind of in the friend circle that I was. He was friends
Mhm.
with like my boyfriend at the time. And he just decided to one day just tell me, "Oh, you got hairy legs." Yeah. He just goes, "You have hairy legs," right? And he used to always bully me like randomly, just like he would just give
Mhm.
digs at me. Like I remember in high school once he called me a wetback, and I was just like, yup. In high
Oh
school,
my god, guys, my jaw
if
dropped
you're if
wide
you're
open.
if you're wondering if he's a Trump supporter, he is. Anywho, he grew up to be a Trump supporter. But and he would pick on me like for no reason. He just like would pick on me because I don't know why. If you're wondering, Danielle, why did he pick on you? That's so like you wonder like why does someone why what insecurity or something? Nah, bitch, he had a crush on me because after the fact, I think while I was married, he tried to slip not knowing that I was married, or maybe when I got divorced, he slid into my DMs. And I was like, that's why you were mean to me all these years?
But
You had a
also, you
little
think
crush on me? Like, you're such an ass because
that's a horrible way to make
oh
someone
my
feel like you have a
God,
crush on.
I got so embarrassed when he was like, "You have hairy legs," because everybody like turned around and I was just like,
Oh.
ugh. So although I was like, quote unquote popular, whatever, I did have a
Mhm.
lot of those little bullying moments because, with the territory comes
Happens.
like haters and
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, no, that sucked. And I remember my mom would not let me. And my best friend at the time, she was like, "Oh yeah, just I did it behind my grandma's back or whatever." And so I grabbed one time, I remember I went into the shower. This is
Mhm.
not sanitary. I used my mom's razor because I
Uh-huh.
didn't have a razor. So I just grabbed a razor and I shaved my legs. I like went in with soap and I just started shaving my legs. And then I remember that in the shower was that moment where I felt my legs graze each other. And I remember because I was just moving around and I
Uh-huh.
felt it. I was like, "Oh my God, hold on, what's that?" And then I put my legs together and I started rubbing them and I was like, "Oh my God, it's like silk. It's so smooth." And then I just started rubbing I would just rub all these textures on them. And I was like, "Wow, my legs are so smooth. And then I like, but here's the problem. You see, Danielle is not good at hiding things because I'm a fat ass little show off at home. When I get something new, I like to show it off. So like my mom used to always say this about me. She was like, I couldn't buy you shoes behind your dad's back because you would just one year, you just like got in the car and you just put your brand new shoes on the dashboard of the car. And my mom was just like, oh dear Lord, child. Like I'm like that. Like I get really excited about things and I'm like, look at this new thing. And so I'm pretty sure I wore a skirt damn near immediately. But I was also a person that always wore skirts a lot since like we talked about femininity since that time in my life. Yeah, so that was my experience with shaving my legs,
And
despite the
not
fact
being
that
able
I
to.
didn't really have a lot of leg hair, to be honest. I didn't have thick leg hair, and also my skin is dark, so it's not very visible. It's only visible when you get close. But you know, I think this boy knew that leg hair is an insecurity to girls. So he just decided to go for it. And he's a piece of shit. And he's still a piece of shit. I'm not sorry about saying that.
Agreed. Honestly, I will say like that's the thing. It's because okay, so we're gonna unpack this. Why was this our experience? Why did this happen? And why? Right. So at the time, again, I try not to cringe anymore when I try to think of those days that I wore skirts, full on skirts, dresses with no my legs fully hairy. Like I mentioned, the camera does not do it justice, guys. My leg hair was very much noticeable. You did not have to be like this to see it. You could see it like regularly because again I have dark hair, dark thick hair. I don't have light skin. But also another thing too is that I have eczema. We talk about lotion, right? I have eczema all over me, and my skin tends to be really dry. So I would put on like lotion on my legs because I was like, okay, like they're gonna look really dry, and then on top of that hairy, no thanks. And so it would just make my hair stand out way more because it would like slick it down, right? So it would like make it look way more. And so I'll be like, oh, but I can't not wear the lotion. And so it was just, again, very noticeable. So now, why did this happen? I just think it's because it became super acceptable in society, and at least in this society and westernized societies, for hair to be like non-existent. You know, for women don't have like hair, or girls are not supposed to have like hair, body hair, etc. Right? Because as I said, in El Salvador, that's not a thing. I don't believe that my cousins who live over there shave their legs. But they also have more, and there tend to be their features and just their genetics tend to be more leaning to the indigenous side. So maybe they don't have to shave their legs. Whereas with me, when I used, when I've gone to visit, I spend so long in the shower because I'm shaving my legs and I'm like, how do they not shave their legs? Because out there the weather is very hot. It's hot. You cannot just be wearing a full on like, you have to wear like again, I wear shorts out there. And so I used to be so self-conscious. I was like, oh my God, like my legs, I have to shave them. And my cousins never had to do that.
So, question. So, your like self consciousness about your body hair is the general public seeing it, opposed to specific people seeing it.
The
I'm
general
the
public.
opposite. I could give two shits about the general public. For me, it's the specifics, which we'll get into because my insecurities with my body hair isn't so much my legs; it's my pubic hair.
Okay. Ooh, okay, we're getting there too. Perfect. 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 So, yeah, for me, it's more like my legs, the general public, because again, I feel like it's very noticeable, and I'm always afraid of the comments of like, you should shave your legs, or are you not allowed to shave? Again, that friend, she didn't tell me like in a public setting. She told me to me, but I felt very embarrassed, and that's another thing too. I understand why people point out their, things like this. I think they might be just curiosity, or I don't know if it's always a projection or whatnot, or if she was trying to help me, because I don't think she meant to embarrass me, but she did. I was very much embarrassed. It was in front of her, exactly. Like, she was my friend, right? I shouldn't feel embarrassed, but I felt very othered, very like, oh, I'm this weird person who's not allowed to shave, and because she was at least allowed to use V and stuff, and so it made me feel very embarrassed. And so that's the thing too. Also, I had another comment later on. Eventually, when I did shave my legs, and I was like, yes, I made it. Now nobody can say anything to me now, And that was the thing. I just be very self-conscious that people would notice things about me. So I shaved my legs, and I used to do the whole shaving ritual. I never thought that I should shave my arms. I don't know why. No me cuadraba. It never came into my brain that I should be doing that until way later. But I was already an adult, and we'll get into that, to the arms thing. So, but I did shave, my legs and everything, and my underarms and everything else, and like I was like, great, I'm not hairy anymore. And the thing is, other thing, again, we talked about how we grew up girly versus not and everything. I very much never did my brows. I never did them. I don't think I did them until I was even over 18. Like never did them in high school, never did them in middle school. My brows were full, out, overgrown. Sometimes I would get hair in between, I'd get a little bit, but I would just pluck that and that's it. I never thought that I should shape them or do anything to my brows. Okay, so another thing too is that my mom does not do her eyebrows. She's never done her eyebrows. They're kind of like, they're there. They're like a little, I don't know if they're sparse, but they're not as dark as mine. So she would always tell me, your brows are beautiful. They make these perfect little arches and everything. She used to always say that to me. So I used to never feel that I was like, oh, I need to do my brows. It wasn't until I never felt that. I would hear my friends get their brows done, and I used to never think that I had to do them until senior year. I practiced my makeup for our senior ball. Right? I was so proud of the makeup. I took a picture on my little digital camera, and people were like, "What are you gonna do with your makeup?" I was like, "Oh, I'm doing my own makeup." I was trying to be over here, be all artsy, and be like, "I'm self-made." So that's what I would say. And I showed, a friend. I showed someone. I was like, "Oh, here, like this is the makeup that I'm going to do." And then they're like, "Oh, yeah, it looks really nice." And then like they paused and they said, "No offense, but you should get your brows done for ball." That was the moment that I realized,
Oh.
yup, I took very extreme offense to that. I didn't know how to react. Again, felt embarrassed the same way that I felt with the legs. I felt very embarrassed, and I just put my, just didn't know what to say. And I made me realize, suddenly it made me self-conscious, made me realize, oh my God, I don't have these perfect little brows that I've always thought I had. And that started this big cycle, this fixation on my brows. I had the fixation on my brows way later, like I said, until I was like maybe after I graduated. I didn't do my brows till way later, until maybe I was 20.
Mhm.
But I fixated at like from 18 to 20. I debated with myself whether I wanted to do my brows, whether I should do my brows, and I tried to do them on my own. And this could have ended badly, guys. I could have messed up my brows. Yeah, and the same thing happened with upper lip,
Mhm.
and that's to this day I've never done anything to my upper lip.
Oh, you don't do anything to your upper lip?
I don't do anything to my upper
Oh,
lip.
wow. Well,
Yeah.
in case you were insecure about it, I could never tell.
Oh,
I've
thank you. I
never
get
even
insecure.
noticed that you have. I've never even noticed that you've had upper lip hair at
Oh,
all.
thank you. I definitely. Oh, thank you. I definitely is an insecurity of mine. I debate with myself the same way I used to with my brows. And I told myself, with the lip hair, I told myself, stop. You did this with your brows. You're going to do this with the lip thing and end up hating it. Because actually, the spoiler alert, when
Mhm.
I did do my brows, and this is not to speak on whoever did my brows, because they did a great job. They shaped them in the way they shape everybody else's. They were nice. People complimented me on my brows. I didn't like them. My face didn't feel like mine.
Well,
It
yeah,
did.
because I've heard that brows, if you want to change the way your face looks, change your brows.
Mhm.
So true.
Yep, very true. Because like, I'd never done them. I wasn't used to my face with my brows done, and I didn't think the shape suited my style.
Mhm.
I didn't like them, and that started a really long journey with me with brow hair and all this other stuff. What about you? Have you, like, you mentioned that your brows have always been super, you know.
Yeah, so I think you mentioned this earlier, but like the
Mhm,
influence of your insecurity projected onto someone else, that's kind of how my facial hair was for me, because
mhm,
again, I don't grow a lot of hair. It's not very thick, it's very, very thin. My hair is black though, so that's like the one annoying thing. But
mhm,
like, again, half of my family is Mexican, and they have very Eurocentric features, especially when it comes to body hair. So like
mhm,
my mom, all of my siblings have thick brows. My mom has thick, gorgeous. I think thick brows are gorgeous. They also, like my cousins, they have very dark brows. They have very dark, like mustache hair. Also, growing up half Mexican, you did hear the slur often of, oh yeah, Mexican women have mustaches. Oh, Mexican women have mustaches. And like I
Oh.
I internalized all of that really hard. So like for me, yes, my brows, I didn't do my brows for a really long time. I think until the first time I had them done was for my quince. I liked them. Um, I don't have a lot of brow hair, but my hair, like you guys can see, they're thin in the sense that the hair is thin for those of you who are listening, but they spread out. So like they're not like a little caterpillar on here. They're pretty, like they're not thick, as in they're not dense, but
Mhm.
they're spread out pretty evenly. And growing up, I even grew like random strays on my lid, like on my brow bone. So I've always had like a very messy kind of, I love my natural brow shape, but it's always been like very messy. Like the hairs, they're not very obvious, but they were obvious to me because I look at my face every day. So I was always very insecure about that. I was insecure about how my hairs would grow way out of like not where the hair is, but like not that many people could see it. I'm sure now looking back, I'm sure nobody noticed, but I noticed. So I was really insecure about that. I held the debate for the longest time of should I do my brows or not, because my cousins had thick hair and they were always doing their brows. And this was during the time, I call it the caterpillar brow. And it's the one that has like that little, like, you know, it's kind of thick in the middle. And then it's like super skinny. I always thought that looked like people rocked them and they looked good with them. But I personally, I hated that style. I thought it was so gross. And I remember my madrina, when I was in high school, she told me, don't do your brows. She said, listen, look, do you see my brows? And I was like, She was like, I have none. And it's because growing up, I did them too often. And she goes, brow style changes. And I used to do them very thin and now I can't grow them out. And that stuck with me. I've heard that. I'm so glad that, shout out to my madrina Berta. I'm so glad that she told me that, because I was like, she's right. And then guess what? She was, because all the people who did them super thin, they're struggling to grow their brows out now. Or it's taken them 10 years to finally grow their brows out. And some people didn't have that issue. But now I'm like, dope, I'll just pencil them in. Again, another place where my insecurity lies in. So most people, it's like that they have too much hair. For me, it's always been the lack of hair. I got my brows microbladed a year and a half ago. Do I regret it? Yes. Did she do a great job? A phenomenal job. She did a phenomenal job on my brows. They looked so good, but why do I regret it? Because I fed into my insecurity. And I still have some of those strands in. I hope they go away, because I want to start embracing my brow for who she is. I like having, I do fill in my brows, but I like having the ability to choose if I want to or not. I like being like, today I'm going to wear a natural brow, which is what I'm doing today, but it's not really fully natural because there's
you get close and show people who are,
it's not going to be fully natural because it's still microbladed somehow.
True. There's still some but we'd like to see your progress right now. I think, wow, because like your tail ends look really nice. They look very natural and like.
Thank you. Yeah, there's like some like in here is mostly where it's at, because this is where it's really sparse, and then there's some strands in here. Sorry, I hope that's not too loud. I'm like right by the mic. But yeah, no, and then also nowadays I like to put eyeshadow in my brows. So whatever color my hair is, I started putting that in my brows, and it's really cool. As far as my upper lip goes, I do wax my lip. Again, I grew up in a home. My mom always waxed her lips. She has very thick hair. Like my people, you know, I would hear my male cousins talk about my grandma's mustache all the time. And I internalized it. And I used to always think like, I have to wax that's when you said that you didn't wax your lip. To be honest, I was like, I should stop, but I don't know that I can, because I've also had guys who I don't think they realize how hurtful it is, but like I won't like out the people that are close to me. Of course. But I've had someone say like, yeah, your mustache is longer than mine. And it's not, because again, I don't grow a lot of hair here, but do I wax? I have a waxing kit I wax my lips all the time. Not often, because again, I don't grow my hair often, but I do wax it. I do like the way it looks without hair though, but I do want to start feeling more comfortable, because in general, I want to be comfortable with my body hair, but I really struggle with the upper lip. That's one that I to this day, I didn't realize how hard I struggled with it until you said, I don't do anything to my lip. And then I remember I was too shocked. When you said it, I was too shocked. I remember my brain immediately went to, oh my God, how does she do that? All of these things. That's why I like stopped you, because I was like, here I am about to go on this, because I am about to go on this thing about being confident in your body here. And yet I wax my lip all the time. I was planning on waxing it soon for my birthday. And I'm not going to lie to you. I'm still going to do it, because I'm just not in a place where I'm comfortable with my upper lip hair, because that one's one that I didn't realize I internalized so hard until right now. Literally right now.
Yeah, and that's the thing about, okay, so celebrating body hair and all these other things, right? We all have, I think, a lot of things that we would like to change about ourselves. And so we talked about putting color in your brows, right? Now this one's a little like off topic, but I think it reminds me of the same kind of deal, because we'll probably touch upon this in a different podcast. I have always been very insecure of my collarbone area. You know, I have, really bony collarbones. My shoulders are very bony. If I go like this.
so much. I used to have bony collarbones. I miss having that.
And so I sometimes if I do this, I can feel like the first couple of ribs right here. I've always had this, no matter what size I was at. I think it's just my
Mhm,
genetics. My grandma is very bony over here as well,
mhm.
and she was a lot of sizes as well. She was a lot bigger, and she had that as well. Because when I pointed it out to my mom, and this insecurity started not too long ago. Not too long ago that I have this insecurity. I pointed it out to my mom because my mom unfortunately pointed it out to me that we took a picture in El Salvador, and the camera's like this. And when we looked back at the picture, my mom was like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, "What?" And I thought she was talking about herself. She's like, "No, look at your chest." And I was like, and I saw it, and I was like, suddenly like, "Yeah, mom, I'm kind of insecure about that." And then she was like, "Well, like, what happened?" And I was like, "It's always been like this." And like we talked about it, and she told me like, what made me feel better. She's like, "Oh, your grandma was like that." And it made me think about it. So ever since she said that my grandma was like that, I started thinking, okay, how am I gonna make myself feel better about this? Because before I used to always wear this. Things like this that did not bring any attention to that, and things that are a little looser because if they're tight, I feel you can see it better. So what I started doing, I put glitter on them. Whenever I wore a tank top or anything like that, put a little bit of glitter on, draw attention to that area, And so the thing is, that helped me a lot. That helped me a lot because I'm also, and I know you're going with the laugh is going to. I also put glitter on my boobs as well, guys, because I was also insecure about them as well.
Mhm.
And I was like, you know what? Put glitter on this whole area, make it pretty so that I can feel better about it. And it worked. It worked because sometimes I do have my days that I'm very insecure about that area, but it definitely worked. Same with the eyebrows, like you putting color in them, it just makes you feel better about them. You're like, oh, I love this. And like I loved it when I put on the glitter. I'm like, you know what? I love that because if they weren't bony, when I did this, maybe it wouldn't catch the light that way. And so I made myself like them, and it's a work in progress. But as for it not being linear, agreed. Because girl, I'd be lying if I were to tell you, okay, I'm gonna put on a skirt today and I'll shave my legs. So that's a lie. I'm gonna shave my legs. I'm probably going to always shave them until I don't know if I will ever not. And I think what I'm trying to do is deconstruct more of the other areas because the leg thing,
Yeah,
I know.
I think it's more of like a listen. What we're trying to get at here, I don't think we're trying to get at like be hairy, let your hair
Mhm,
grow. No, no, no. It's more of like overcome your insecurity and then decide. If you
exactly.
want to, like, for example, I like the way that I was giggling earlier because I was like, oh, so I should have a glitter mustache. Is that what you're saying? Like, let me
Yeah.
have, like, how people have glitter beards. I'll have a
Uh-huh.
glitter mustache, which I'm here for.
Do
But
it. Do
I
it.
already have a lot of like highlight on my like my Cupid's
Mhm,
bow. Um, but but um, but I think it's more about coming to a place where you're like, I'm insecure about this. I accept it, and there's nothing wrong with you, and
mhm,
then being like, but I do like to look this way. But there's nothing wrong when I don't look this way. So like if you're like, I accept my leg hair, dope sometimes,
mhm.
but I like the way that I look with it instead of more of it being the choice out of like from self rather than of like an insecure place. Does that make sense?
Yes. I think yes, I definitely agree because that was a thing too. That's why I'm trying to work on is that yes, I said I probably will always shave my legs. Who knows? I don't know yet. But I will say what I'm trying to heal is that my decision to shave and my decision to do this stuff with my body hair came from a place of hurt. It
Yeah.
came from a place of feeling other, of feeling weird because my mom didn't let me shave, of feeling that, people pointed it out to me. So it made me feel bad. And it came from a place of hurt. The hurt never came, maybe I would have never made that decision. Same thing with my brows. I lived my entire middle school, high school, even adulthood with full brows until it came from a place of hurt that someone was like, you should do your brows. And that's what I'm trying to eliminate is trying to do things out of places of hurt. And so this is where we're going to go into another one. You mentioned it earlier, and part of me was like, am I going to talk about this on the podcast? But you know what? We are, because we're going to talk about everything, right? Or at least we're going to be honest here. So pubic hair,
Mm-hmm.
that one, interestingly enough, that did not come up from a place of hurt for me. And that's to me, I guess that was the ideal because again, the legs, everything else came from a place of hurt, like, with the exception of underarm hair, because I did that on my own, and pubic hair. For me, it came from a place of ignorance. And now I'm about to full on expose myself, but that's okay.
That's fine. So am I.
I did not shave on my pubic hair ever until I was 18, 19. That was my first time ever, and I was nervous. And why? I know if you're thinking to yourself, ew, keep listening. Why? Number one, I didn't talk to anyone about this. I didn't know this is an interesting one. I didn't know I was supposed to. I don't know what gave me the idea that I was supposed to. I think I saw it somewhere on a YouTube channel about how to shave, and I was like, you mean to tell me everybody has been shaving there too? I was like, wait, I thought we were just shaving our legs in the shower. And then I was like, huh? And so I watched the video, and I remember I was like, and I remember I immediately wanted to ask people, do you shave? But you understand, that is not, I wanted to ask people, do you shave?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I was just so confused. I wasn't sure. And because of the, I guess, embarrassment, or I guess lack of wanting to talk to anyone about this, I thought that was too weird. I decided, okay, let's think about it. So I thought about it. And then I was like, how about, I said, well, it's hair. It's going to grow back regardless. And I was like, how about we just try it? And if we don't like it, then I'm just never going to talk to anyone about it. And I thought nobody has to know. Nobody will know. I know the TikTok. How would they know? How would they know? How would they know?
How would they know?
Yeah. That was me. I was like, how would they know? They won't. Yeah. So I was like, all right, you know what? So I did it. I was like, I took the little, and I was scared, guys, because I didn't ask to anyone for advice. I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, well, let's do it. So I did. And then I realized that this is it. Okay, cool. I liked it. Then it started to grow back. Then I was like, I hate this. I was like, I hate this so much. The grow up process is miserable. But then now, currently speaking, I teeter in between. Because again, there was nothing, no one ever, that was not something that I was shamed into. It was literally just ignorance. I literally did not know. I did not know that in high school, people were shaving. Like, I had no idea. I really thought that it was just our legs.
Nice.
Yeah. So then now we're going to have vagina cam. We're gonna stand up and show our, I'm just kidding, guys.
Also, I randomly grabbed this pen. Sometimes I like to play with things to focus. So that's what that's about.
I was stimming earlier, guys, so I'm sorry if you guys heard it, but earlier I was stimming like crazy and doing all these things as well, but off camera. So yeah, but agreed that I'm doing this underneath. Yes, I was kidding, guys. I was trying to keep my composure, and I was gonna have vagina cam. I was gonna see if you would.
No, I love that you brought that up, because recently one of the accounts that we follow, they do like Brazilian waxes, which I've always been intrigued by that. But anywho, she got someone to fucking post their Brazilian, except if the right at where we would get, what would you call it? I guess it's the mons pubis, I think is what it's called. Just that part on top. That's all it is. And there's a napkin that
I've seen that.
Yeah. And so I was like, damn, this bitch was really like, yeah, take a picture of me. It's okay. I know it looks good. I was like, would I do that? I was like, yeah.
Put glitter on it. Yeah. Put glitter on it too.
So we're going to get into two topics. It's pubic hair, and I consider like armpit hair pubic hair too.
Yeah.
So I'll start with that personally, because they're both the things that I'm the most insecure about. Okay. So I talk about how I don't grow a lot of hair. I'm very open, y'all. Y'all know this. Yeah. She was like, I guess I'm going to expose myself. I always expose myself. Anywho, that's not the same for me when it comes to my armpit hair and my pubic hair. That is very dense. There's a lot of growth. It's really thick. And it can be textured. And I'm very insecure about it. My armpit hair grows back really fast. And so I have to shave, every other day roughly. So I hate that. And as a dance teacher, my arms are up. I'm a bachata instructor. We do arms like in follow styling. And sometimes I would forget. And I would have, especially when I was depressed, I would forget about like regular day-to-day things that people are supposed to do. You okay?
No, I dropped my tissue and I was like, yeah, sorry about that.
Keep okay. You're good. And so, that was some good ASMR. Sorry, y'all. You just pulled a tissue out of the tissue box, and I'm here for ASMR. Anywho, I would forget to shave, and I would go to class and I would start doing the stuff and I would immediately feel like I need to put my elbows down because I would see my armpit hair in the mirror and I'd be like, "Oh, I forgot to shave before coming." And I shaved yesterday and it already grew back and I'm like, "Oh, this is so frustrating." Like I have to constantly have my arms up and then because I'm dancing most of the time I'm wearing like a sports bra or like a tank top, especially in the summer was when it was the worst. And I remember consciously, I'd always feel really insecure. And I'm like, all right, time to change the choreo in my head to this class so that I don't have to put my arms up as much and people don't notice. That's what I'm working on because nowadays, here's the thing. I don't like to shave. I don't like to shave. I don't like to shave. I don't like that I feel like I have to because other people are going to point it out. Because again, as we've heard, I have had people tell me shit or I've had people say stuff or I've internalized other people's stuff and I don't want someone to say something. So my insecurity with my armpit and my pubic hair comes from the fear of the other ones. Uh, and so I'm in a place right now where I'm trying to get used to not shaving my armpits and having my arms up and that be okay because I don't shave my armpits often. But when the moment that I feel bad about it is when I put my arms up. And like right now, my armpits, they're not shit, we gonna do an armpit cam. My armpits are not shaved. There's armpit hair. You can see it.
Okay.
It's black. It's black. I have armpit hair and I'm okay with that. I don't like to shave my armpit hair because I get ingrowns. I'm very prone to ingrown hair in general. And that's one thing that I hate about shaving. And so I'm trying to get comfortable with that. I'm trying to get comfortable in my pubic hair. I am going to out myself right now on the cringiest story that has ever cringed, y'all. The cringiest story that, yes, you know
Oh,
exactly what story I'm talking about. I just decided on the spot that I'm going to talk about it because
Chisme. This is Chisme, guys.
I want to be very honest. I want to be very honest about my experience. I fucking hate shaving my pubic hair. I hate it. Do I like it trimmed? Do I like it groomed? Fuck yes. Because I'm not a bush girl. Because have I had a bush? Sure. When did I start shaving? I don't remember. Maybe sometime in high school. Why? Because all of a sudden my vagina, my pubic area had hair on it. And I was like, when did this happen? And I was like, oh my God, what happened to our naked ass vagina? Like, I miss her. Like, let's shave. So I started shaving, right? And I again, no guidance. I didn't feel like you said, who you gonna ask?
Exactly.
What are your techniques? No, like what are people using different tools? Y'all using the razor? Also, this is a serious question. Y'all got some specific techniques? Please drop them in the comments below.
Now that we've exposed ourselves, we are now bonded.
Oh my
All
God.
of that had listened, we're now bonded. So
Oh.
definitely help us out because now we're having the conversation we were too shy to have years ago.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, if you got tips, leave them below.
I can't believe I'm doing this right now. Okay, so um so again, I was shaving behind my mom's back here. I'm not going to talk to my mom about how I'm shaving my pubic hair. And like I said earlier, I'm extremely prone to ingrowns. Like I'm very, very prone to ingrowns. Yeah, that's the story.
Yeah.
So when I was like 15, but I didn't know what an ingrown was in these days because again, very new to shaving. My legs don't really get ingrowns as much. My armpit does and my pubic hair does. And again, thick hair, very coarse, very dense. God. When I was like 15, I remember one day I found like it was an ingrown, but I didn't know at the time. So I found this bump and I freaked out because also I was a virgin, right? And I was sitting there like, oh my God, what the fuck is this? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And so I talking to my best friend at the time on the phone, we're trying to figure it out. I'm on the internet, like, and here's the thing. I was just like, is this some Virgin Mary shit, but with like STDs? Did I get is this a fucking I thought I had like genital warts or something. And I was like, how the fuck? I thought that I was like, is this some Virgin Mary shit? But like, I've never had sex. I was like, how am I going to explain this to my mother? Like, she's not going to believe me. I've never had sex with anyone. Nobody's ever seen it. Nobody's ever gone down there. What is this? I had no other logical explanation at the time. I'm freaking the fuck out. I'm like, I don't know what this is. I had to tell my mom because I had to go to the doctor because I was freaking the fuck out. I didn't know what it was. And so it's not like the ingrowns you get in your leg hair. My
Mm-hmm.
ingrowns on my pubic hair, this is very TMI, but they can be very large.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty large, dude.
So it was alarming naturally.
It
Yeah.
was very alarming. It was very alarming because it was pretty large and I was just freaking the fuck out. And it was very tender because, as you guys know, what happens is the hair grows back into the skin and it just kept growing because I didn't notice. And so it curls up
Uh-huh.
and creates this really big thing. And that
Yeah.
happens to me. And that's why I don't like shaving, because I'm extremely prone to ingrowns. And I don't
Mhm.
like to put soaps and stuff down there because that's a whole nother,
That's a whole that's a
anywho,
whole other thing.
but yeah, so I had to go to the doctor and I had to tell my mom, and I was like telling her, like, I swear I'm a virgin. I don't know what this is. I'm freaking out.
Oh my
And I
god.
go to the doctor and the doctor checks it out and the doctor's like, honey, do you know what an ingrown hair is? And I was like, oh, what?
The way she worded that.
Yeah, but
Ah!
also, no, but also I should say this has been my doctor since I was a little kid. She's my brother's
Yeah,
doctors. Like, I love her. I've never found a doctor like her. She was very, very sweet about it and she
of
explained it to
course.
me and I was so relieved. But since then, like, she explained to me why it happens. And she's like, are you shaving? And I was like, yes. And she's like, that's why I have ingrowns. And so the only reason I shave these days is not because I want to, because I don't like it. I like to have it trimmed and all that stuff, but this is where I have an insecurity. It's because, as we all know, people have preferences.
Mhm.
And sometimes guys talk about how they don't like to go down on a girl who has hair down there and that it grosses them out. And that really hurts. Like, that sucks because I'm like, I don't want to shave down there because I tend to get ingrown sometimes. So I'm
Mhm.
having to go way out of my way to try to prevent that and also do something down there that isn't even for me. It's because I do it because I don't want to have that moment where someone's like, right? And I'm just like, that it sucks. It sucks. I'm emotional about it because for me,
Of
that is a
course.
very emotional thing. Like, and so I'm trying to get to a place where I'm like, fuck this. Fuck your opinion. The only preferences that matter are mine because I'm the one that has it. Like, I've had guys ask me, and I've noticed, like, because I'm queer, women don't give a fuck.
Uh-huh.
At least the women I've talked to. But guys do. And guys will always ask me what, like, my preference is. And I'm like, I don't care. It's your body. If you want to shave, shave. If you don't want to shave, don't shave. If you want to groom it, groom it. Just maintain, like, just be clean. That's all I give a fuck about. Just be clean. Just that's all I care about, and that's what I work on too. But, like, this thing has gotten so far that, like, I've had ex-boyfriends that knew that I had ingrowns, and upon breaking up they would spread rumors, or they would talk about how Daniela has this, Daniela has that, and it's not
Absolute
true.
trash.
They would take my biggest insecurity and turn it against me. So, you know what I just started doing? I just started shaving because I was tired of, like, you know, that kind of insecurity coming forward. And so I'm personally in a place where I'm like, I'm going to let my body hair be whatever the fuck it is, and fuck your opinion. Fuck you for ever using that against me. Fuck you for, like, trying to make me feel inferior. And I'm angry too that I let them get that out of me. It makes me upset. It makes me upset. And so, you know what? If there's one thing I want to tell people, is wear your body hair how you want to wear your body hair, not how other people want you to wear your body hair.
Or
They
have
can go
hurt
fuck
you
off.
into
Yeah,
thinking. Mm-hmm.
they can go fuck off. I don't care if they say it makes me gag. That's their problem. It's not your problem. You don't want someone like that in your life. Like, whatever it is that you want to do, if you want to shave your armpits, everything, if you want to wax and it makes you happy and it comes from you wanting to do that, perfect, do that. But if you're like, I'm so tired of feeling like I have to do this because other people are going to judge me, take baby steps. Slow
Mm-hmm.
down. Stop. Because I will go on wearing full dresses to, like, a fancy event sometimes without my legs shaved. And sometimes I feel the need
Beautiful.
to. And then sometimes I'm like, no, why do you feel like you should? Do you want to or do you not want to? What is it? And so that's what I do, because I'm like, F this. F this. The
Yeah.
only time I will, like, I do like groom and all that kind of stuff because I'm a dancer and I wear very risque things and all this stuff. So
Yeah.
obviously I don't want people seeing it like that
Mhm.
aren't unless we fucking you ain't seen it.
Yeah, I said like that's I agree, I totally agree, and I think that yeah, it is hurtful. You know, like for you, you are coming from a place as well as hurt, and it's a habit built by hurt, right? That's what I call it, a habit built by hurt to shave your pubic hair.
Mhm,
It was not the end something that you either it is for you to prevent yourself from being hurt
mhm,
again. And like also taking that experience from someone hurting you and turning that around and the whole ingrown thing. You know what? Ingrowns are normal. I've never experienced something like that, but they are normal. That
mhm.
is not, again, I think it's a super, again, this is like what we talked about. I realized I left that tangent 10,000 years ago. Is that why does this happen? Why are people like this? Why? Right? And I think it really is just society's conditioning of people
Yeah.
because, again, it is, I think, I don't, it sucks. I feel like hasta sobra decir. I don't know how to translate that, but hasta sobra decir to tell people that it's rude. Yes, pointing at somebody's. I know my friend had the best, did not mean to
Yeah.
embarrass
I don't
people.
think
It was
most,
rude.
except for the people that bullied me about it, that were
Huh?
obviously malicious, I don't think anyone has had malintention, or bad intention when they told me what their preference was. I think they've
Yeah,
extremely normalized it.
I
But
think so
but
too.
I
Like
haven't
shaved
been able to
legs.
speak up. I haven't felt the strength to speak up and say, and that's something I'm working on, having the
Mhm.
strength to when someone says their preference for me to say, you know that I don't care about your preference because it's my body. That's what I'm working on personally.
Yeah.
Mhm,
And I think that again, it's really difficult because it's normalized, that they probably don't mean malicious intent either.
mhm,
They're probably, I don't know, I guess I don't know what they think, but same with the friend that told me, I know that you should get your eyebrows done. Are you allowed to shave questions? Yes, they are, like they don't mean malicious intent. That was not something evil. They were not bullying me, but it did hurt. It did
yeah,
hurt, and it was, in my opinion, a rude question or a rude comment. It was rude. I would never have told anyone to shave their legs or to do their brows. And so this is what we talked about earlier. The student becomes the teacher, right? And how sometimes our habits rub off on other people and make them feel some kind of way. My mom had never shaved her legs before, ever. Until I went on and on. I've been shaving them on for years and being like, oh no, my legs are hairy. I don't want to wear shorts. I can't wear a dress. I went through a time that I was waxing my legs too. And let me tell you, I loved it because it's kind of fun. I did it myself. I learned how to wax, how to sugar wax, and it's really fun. But God, it's a time consuming. And on top of that, I got to grow my hair out in order to wax. So and I would tell you the growing out process is miserable. Maybe someday I'll do it again, but like the grow out process from the time that you get, for at least for me, my hair grows back really quickly on my legs. From the time that I like waxed it, right? It was fine for maybe like a week. And then it would already start being stubbly. And then I would just be miserable during the stubble stage, had to keep going. So sometimes those days would land in the middle of summer and I'd be just dying. It was so hot and I'd be wearing jeans. My mom's like, put on some shorts. And I'd be like, no, my legs, I'm growing out my leg hair for wax. And I'd be like that. This is not even this long ago. And I'd be like that. And point is, I decided to stop doing that. I just shave whenever. I decided shaving gives me more control of what I want to do. Maybe I'll go back to waxing someday, right? Who knows? Point is, now that I've been doing that, I started noticing that my mom, I think last summer, no, just kidding. 2020 brain. 2 summers ago, we were going to go to LA, and she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna wear these," and she had some outfits, right? And on one of them, they were like capris, like her pants were like capris. And I was like, all right, I didn't think anything of it. And we bought the outfits together. I said, "Mommy and Mom are very close." And she was like, "Oh, like before, like, she's like, oh, before we go, like the night before we went to LA, she was gonna be like, oh, can you like teach me how to use that Nair stuff?" And she asked me to buy it and to teach her how to use it.
mm,
And I felt bad. That was a moment that I felt bad because I was like, why? Like my mom had never felt the need to shave her legs, and I felt really bad. And she just really wanted to. Of course, I didn't say no. I did teach her and everything, but I just felt bad that and I taught her how to use it. And and that's another thing too is that like I realized that's what made me realize all this carrying on about my legs is like rubbing off on somebody else, and then my brows too. So and the time that I mentioned about the fixation on the brows, I was constantly in a cycle of I got them waxed. I'm growing them out now because I don't like them. And then the grow out process, I felt so ugly, and then a whole bunch of other things. And now, again, taking control for myself, I do them now,
mhm.
and it gives me control because it lets me decide when I want to do them and when I want to like not do them. And so I don't have to worry about an appointment. If I feel like if I wake up in the morning and I'm like I want to do these brows, I do them. you know, and so I don't have to have an appointment, nothing like that. So I love the control aspect, and the same thing with the shaving. So yeah, I do my own brows, and I like the shape that I give them. I call them my boy brows. I'm gonna get a little close for you guys. I can't really tell. The point is, I like them. These are my natural brows. I just have a little bit of like some product in to kind of make them feathery, and then I kind of fill in a little bit. Point is, I decided to do them more thicker in my boy shape because I used to get them arched in a shape that's not even mine. It wasn't even my brow shape. And I realized,
by the way, your brow shape is gorgeous. Your brows are phenomenal.
thank you. Yeah, and so I used to try to change myself. And I realized I was also rubbing off on my mom because my mom has never got them done ever. And when I would do her makeup, she'd be like, "Do you think I should do my brows?" And now I say, "Absolutely not. I can work around them. I'm not gonna." And I said again, it's also like that's I worked as someone who did makeup, freelance and everything, and I've done makeup on people. And one of the things that was taught to me is that, oh, when you get a client in your chair, the first thing you want to do is look at their brows, and want to be like, and like essentially, and that happened to me. I went to a class, somebody who was learning to do makeup. I was their model. When I got into the chair, of course I didn't have my brows done. I mentioned I didn't start doing my brows till way later. And she pointed it out to the class because I was the model. She pointed it out. She was like, "Oh, well, ideally you want to work with somebody whose brows are shaped and da da da." She said that. And I told other MUA friends of mine, and they joked. They were like, "Yeah, if you can, just wax them right then and there." And they're like joking like that, because they're trying to make me feel better. But I felt shamed by it, and so that I try to like work against that. You know what? I've done makeup on people who are younger, who are 13, as young as 13, and clearly don't have their brows done. I work around it. That's fine. They don't have to do their brows to make the makeup look nice. And same thing, I'm trying to do, essentially like practice what I preach. And by doing that, so, I'll be doing my makeup with my little boy brow shape. I don't try to do anything drastic if I don't feel like it, because I realized that was rubbing off a little bit on my mom. And my mom has always been the kind of person, who doesn't really do anything to her body hair. That's just not how she grew up. That's not in her culture, and that's okay. There are cultures where you don't do anything to your body hair, and I don't want to shame anyone and bring in here my ideals and try to say that it's as gross, So I'm trying very hard, and like I mentioned with the leg hair stuff, I'm trying to deconstruct that and remove that away from the place of hurt. And my upper lip, because I'm not gonna lie to you, like when you were like talking about the whole like, oh, that you do your upper lip and everything, it always makes me think maybe I should. Funny enough, I've actually done your upper lip. I did it with sugar wax. Yeah, I've done her upper lip before. I did it with sugar wax. And I remember how nice, I looked after. I was like, oh my God, I did that. And I realized, should I do it to myself? And I've never brought myself to do it. And so I realized, what? There's a reason. There's a reason that I haven't brought myself to be able to do that. And I think the reason is that maybe I really don't want to. And like shaving your face, I know that's a thing in makeup as well, to shave all the peach fuzz off. I like my little peach fuzz on there. I think, I don't know, I don't think it's, no me estorba. It doesn't impede me from doing anything, so I don't shave it off. And so I think it's really hard to have to like, again, move away and deconstruct all these things, because that's what made me realize that some of the things that I was doing in terms of shaving, like you mentioned, were to not please other people, because I was shamed into thinking them. And it's not because these people inherently are trying to, at least with me, we're trying to do something malicious. It's just that it's so normalized. It's so normalized for everyone to shave. It's so normalized for women to like, do their upper lip, do their brows, do everything, get waxed. It's like a normal woman thing. And it's even, guys, it's even marketed towards women. One of the things that I don't like is when I go on like a wax page and they talk about ladies this, ladies that, ladies that. I don't like that, because I feel very much targeted by that, because then I'm like, oh, I identify as a lady. This is for me then, right? And so I don't like that. And so that's something that I know I had to work on myself and tell myself to not internalize that, because it's normalized. I get it, and it's but it is those kind of comments, that kind of behavior, that kind of preference things, and everything with the hair. It's you kind of are not trying to say stray away from those conversations, but they can come off as rude, even if you don't intend for them to come off as rude. They can come off as rude. And this is not even coming from somebody I'm not very sensitive, but I definitely felt offended, when they told me do your brows. I was very offended by that, all the times that have happened to me. And the
I
legs
would have 100% cried, because as y'all know, I'm a little crybaby. As y'all, for those of you who are listening, I did cry when I was talking about the pubic hair. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's like again, like it's hard. It's really because again, it's habits formed by hurt, right?
Yeah.
And when those habits are formed by hurt, it's really hard to undo the hurt part. Because it's hard. I definitely with the legs thing, I have to always ask myself, why am I doing this? Do I want to do this? And that kind of stuff.
It's always really hard when someone reinforces or validates your insecurity. That's really hard
Mhm.
because sometimes some of the insecurities that we have, they're just in our head. No one's really paying
Mhm.
attention to them. Like I can't remember that anyone really pointed out my brows. So I think
Mhm.
that's why my brows have probably been the easiest one, my
Mhm.
brows and my legs. A lot of people, what reversed the leg thing for me is that, for example, you and everybody I know always talk about how you have no leg hair. I can't even see your leg hair. So
Mhm.
that's what reversed that one for me. Having that reverse validation does really, really help, which is why I constantly try to give you reverse validation in
Mhm.
general. But it is hard when someone has kind of given attention to the insecurity that you're insecure about. It's really hard because now it's not just your voice in your head, it's their voice in your head
Mhm.
and the voices of people who haven't quote unquote spoken up yet, right, that could speak up in your mind if that's where you go to, because that's where I
Yeah.
go to.
Mhm. And I said, and it sometimes, unfortunately, the negative does ring louder than the positive. Because like I said, that one comment about you should do your brows rang louder in my head than all of the times that my mom was like, "Your brows are so beautiful. Your brows are so beautiful." And I think my mom just genuinely, but I don't think she was being a mom and telling me that. I generally do think my mom thinks my brows are beautiful because she has a different brow type. So for her, these brows are not hers, and she probably thought they were really beautiful, and that's why she always told me my brows are really beautiful. She always said that. And I don't think that was her. I generally believe she actually does believe that. And I think, but that one person that was like, you should do your brows rang louder than all of the times that my mom has said, your brows are beautiful. So nothing it's difficult. I said, it's really hard with the whole comments about body hair and all these other things. It's like, guys, it's really, it's taxing. No, I'm kidding. It can be taxing,
It
and
can.
it can be. And I
It's not
think that,
something that's necessarily in the front of our minds, but I think
Mhm.
especially as I would say, especially as women, we experience it more because you don't see anybody telling men to shave their armpits. You don't see anyone telling when men shave their legs, it's weird. Also, if men want to shave their legs, let them shave their legs. If they want to shave their armpits, let them shave their armpits. But
Yeah.
these things, they're not marketed towards women. All they get is like shave your face. But as we know, beards are very much in right now too. So
Hmm.
it's like if you want to, like here are these products where for them it's very if you want to. For
Hmm.
us it's like a staple.
Exactly. And like the masculinization of hair is like this is like a man, right? Like again, talk about women having mustaches. Excuse, like when you said that, they say Mexican women have mustaches, I felt so offended. I'm not even Mexican, but I know that applies to me too. That I felt
Yeah,
really
because they
offended.
generalize. It's
Yeah.
one, a racial slur, and two, I mean, it's just a racial slur. It's
Mhm.
fucked up. It's rude. It's rude. But I guess like what I would like for everyone to take away from this is do what you want. Listen, like
Mhm.
like last like last podcast said, my expression, my choice, my body, my choice. Whatever
Mhm.
you want to do with your body is totally fine. If you want to shave, you want to wax, you want to nair, you want to if you want to
Mhm.
grow it out, if you want to dye your armpit hair, dye your armpit hair because it's
Yeah.
your body and no one gets to tell you what to do with your body because it's not their body. Because you want to know why? Because you're the one that has to live with yourself every day. Don't live with other people's decisions, live with your decisions. I know that that's a lot easier said than done, as you guys saw by my crybaby ass like 10 minutes ago. It is a lot easier said than done, but I think it's a progression of starting to try to get into that mentality and starting to try to feel confident about these aspects in our lives. Baby steps, baby steps.
Exactly. And like I said, and it's like, so I invite you. I invite you all to post pictures of your hair. I'm kidding. No. You're probably like, damn, you're a creep. I'm kidding. No, what I would invite y'all is, if it is difficult, like we talked about, right? The upper lip, my legs in my experience, or other hair that I may have, I invite you to try to look at silver linings. One of the things that helped me a lot with my excessive, what I would call excessive body hair, in my opinion, is that, like I mentioned, it's just thick hair is not only in your head, it's everywhere else. But also, I thought of reversing that. Thick hair is also everywhere else, allowing me to have thick hair on my head. I have a lot of hair on my head. People always comment on it. They're like, you have A lot of hair is like we can have like, enough hair for 2 wigs in there, maybe 3 people in your hair. And like also my brows, people have always, now that, thick brows are in, people have always brought attention to my brows. And I think I wouldn't have, or my lashes are pretty, they're a little like, they point down, but they definitely are a little bit thick. And so people always point these things out about me. And I think tell myself, you know what? I wouldn't have these things if I didn't have thick hair everywhere else. And so I always try to thank my thick hair everywhere else that I'm like, my arm hair. I always tell myself, you know what? Well, thank you guys, because you also grew in other places that I like. You grew on my head and it made me have all this hair that I like to hide underneath, and it's very warm. And I always tell myself, you know what? You guys grew everywhere else, and can't have the good without the bad, I guess, right? And so I always try to do that. Or again, if you're not there in that place to be like, I'm gonna go ahead and not shave my armpits and be a confident, because I understand it's hard, right?
Also, if you're like me and that doesn't reign the same, because like for me, the way I reverse it is, well, at least I don't have a lot of leg hair, right? But that's not where my insecurity lies. My insecurity is in my pubic hair. So, I was thinking about what you said, and I was like, I can't reverse that, because it's like my hair is thick, but it's not because of my pubic hair, because my legs are inconsistent. But also remember that hair is there for a reason. Everything on our body serves a purpose. Fuck media for telling us that it's ugly. Our body is so beloved. Our body is taking care of us. Stop hating on your body. Learn to love your body in all of her stages.
And it's baby steps. Yeah, and all of her forms and baby steps, like she said, and try to do something that makes you feel better about it. Even if that's, if it's not right away, dyeing your armpit hair, like I said, wear a little glitter on it. That's what I did with this area of my body, try to find ways that you can do it in a way that, or like essentially wear your hair or embrace your body and its body hair in a way that you feel better about it. I'm never over here judging people for wearing. If you're trying to embrace your thick eyebrows and you're wearing glitter on them, I'm never going to be like, yo, what's that? Again, like it's like, I think so. That's what I like to do. I like to do things to myself that make me feel better. Like I've been thinking about tangent time, random little tangent time. I've been thinking about doing something about my acne scars, because I have a little bit of acne scars underneath this makeup. And I'm like, what if I have a heart on here, but like if I put little hearts on there, little stars or something on my acne marks? What if I put glitter on them? I've been trying to find something that feel them better. Yeah. So
I love
again,
that.
Like, the good philosophy, try to make yourself feel better. If you can't change it, at least try to make yourself feel better about it, So yeah, I love that. That's our ending note on that body hair one. We hope you guys had a lot of fun listening to us and seeing our body hair. Unfortunately we couldn't show y'all our pubic hair. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
She said, unfortunately.
As the podcasts have progressed, now y'all know, you're like, oh, she's the demon of you two. They're like, oh, that's the demon in the podcast. It's actually Jen. Yes, and so I finished this chai, air quotes, because we exposed me as a hot chocolate a while ago. How about you? How are you doing?
I also finished it a while ago. People probably who are watching the YouTube version of this saw me drinking nothing, where I was like trying to get a sip out. There ain't nothing in here. I've been doing that for a while. I do that all the time.
I did that last podcast. All right, mine is done too. It's even cold. It's been sitting here cold this entire time. All right, so that would mean the chais are done, and so is this chisme. You definitely don't want to miss our next episode coming out of Chais and Chisme on our YouTube channel. Where else can they find us?
They can find us on Anchor, where they can listen. There's many listening platforms, such as a popular one, Spotify. If you guys are watching, or if you're even listening, you hear that I got really excited. I can't wait for you guys to start next week's episode, because we begin Daniela's birth month, yes, where we are doing all of Daniela's favorite topics. There's going to be a lot of really fun ones in there, as well as we are going to be spilling some tea, dropping some chisme. It's going to be really great. I'm really excited. I got really excited all of a sudden because I love my birthday. So yes, if you're listening to us on a listening platform, please make sure to leave a rating. Jumps back into work mode.
Yeah, they have to the balloon started floating away. You're like, no, wait, come bring it back.
I jumped into the air and grabbed the balloon. So as I'm grabbing the balloon, make sure that you leave us a rating on our listening platforms. And then if you're on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, guys. Subscribe so then that way you guys get notifications. Subscribe, turn that little bell icon on because YouTube is kind of weird sometimes and it won't always notify you. So turn on that bell icon. That way you guys always get notifications when we drop new episodes, which is every Thursday at 10 a.m. At 10 a.m. I wonder how our live mini pod went. If you didn't check it out, we went live on Sunday. That we're in the past, though it hasn't happened yet. But when this comes out, it will have happened. I wonder how it went. Anywho, you can go check us out on Instagram. We'll put all those links down below. And so we're going to go ahead and have that there. And you can check out our mini pod where we put on face masks. And you guys are going to watch us fuck up the intro and the outro many times because we always do, but we always edit it out. Have a wonderful day, guys. Ciao.
Salud.
Bye.
Bye.